Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Buddy Fun podcast series. My name is Jamie Burdish. I'm joined today by Tom Michler and our brand new intern, Torek Wright. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about Tom's story and the New Dimensions Soccer. So without further ado, Tom, can you please introduce yourself and get things going?
Sure. Thanks, Jamie. My name, as Jamie said, is Tom Michler. I am the co-founder and current executive director of New Dimensions Soccer, which is an outreach program utilizes the sport of soccer to connect with kids in under-resourced areas to teach them the game of soccer, give them a team experience, but also to do much more than that. Our goal is to teach life skills also to kids to participate in their formation, because while we love the game of soccer, we know that a lot of the kids that we're working with probably aren't going to be professional soccer players. So, but if they can get exposure to the game and maybe they stay connected to it, maybe they become a fan, maybe they become a referee, who knows, but something to rally around is what it was. And really the original impetus, the focus was on refugee kids and families moving to St. Louis. And it was, we saw New Dimensions as a way to help these kids assimilate into our culture, because so many of the different cultures coming to St. Louis revere soccer. So it was a great way for kids new to St. Louis to assimilate into our culture, but also to expose hometown kids to diversity.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of it in a nutshell, Jamie.
So can you tell me a little bit about how the Buddy Fun, the partnership between the Buddy Fun and New Dimensions Soccer works, what we do together to really better the community in a way of, for the future, I guess you could say.
Again, as I said, we're using sport to try to connect with youth, to do more than just teach the sport. Really, we want the kids to feel good about themselves. What we want these kids to do, like I said, is to feel good about themselves. And one of the ways to do that is if they have quality items with them. They come to the game, they feel good about what they're wearing, about what they look. So the support that we get from the Buddy Fund directly supports the heart of our mission, which is to make this sport accessible. We are a low or no pay model. So we're just wanting to give people kids a chance to play, but the equipment, the quality equipment sends a message to the child that you matter and you're important. So if we have that in place, then we have a foundation with that child, and they are then more likely to continue to show up, continue to take guidance. So it plays a direct role in supporting our mission. It really does.
Hey, Tom, this is Torek. I want to ask you a quick question. How does New Dimension Soccer and the Buddy Fund provide equal opportunity for all kids around the community?
Well, Torek, it's a great question. We're focused in under-resourced areas because youth sports now has become dominated by a pay-to-play system. So, when I was growing up, we didn't have to, if you were fortunate enough to be selected, you were truly selected. What that meant was you received a phone call from a coach who was over the area you were living in, and you had been selected to play for the team. So you went to, I think it was Bob Russell's Sporting Goods, picked up your uniform at no charge. Nothing cost you anything because you had been truly selected. What that means nowadays is that there are a lot of kids that don't get a chance to play because, again, a lot of it is happening under the select system. And there are a lot of kids from under-resourced areas that don't have the opportunity to, or don't have the transportation, the means, the funds. So if we can target under-resourced areas, because we know there's a lot of kids that just don't have a chance to participate. So we're just wanting to give those kids an opportunity as well too, because we know that some of them are going to be good soccer players as well, Torek, and if we can give a child extra opportunity through their soccer talent, then we like to do that as well too. But we really do want to make the sport accessible to all.
I like that. That's very good that you're pointing that out and you're shedding some light on that, because there are a lot of kids out here who may love the game of soccer, like you said, and there's some that are good and some that may not be good. But like you said, there could be a different outlet, like becoming a referee, an official of some sort, or they could become an ambassador of a team as they get older, so that's good.
Yeah, I think that just the team experience, we like to start with the kids when they're younger. We have what we call a grassroots league. We start at age 6, and this is the time when kids are becoming more social.
Mm-hmm.
So if they can feel part of the team, and this is a recreation effort. This is a recreation league. We're not looking for top players. We're not a club per se. We're just looking to create a space for kids from all different kind of backgrounds to come together and have some fun chasing the ball around. So that we try to keep it as simple as we can, but it's profound and at the same time.
Great. Growing up, did you always want to make an impact and give back to the community?
No, honestly, if I'm straight up with you, no, I was more interested in myself. And I don't know. I mean, it was 2004 and I'm kicking this idea around. And my 2 kids were young at the time, and I knew that they were going to grow up in a world that was going to be different than the one I'd grown up in. And I wanted them to be comfortable with people that were different than them. So some of it was really just kind of a personal, maybe even selfish motivation, but things just, it just kind of took its own course, to tell you the truth. And the next thing you knew, the response that we were getting, I think it was the model, because in our model, I don't know, Torque, if you know much about soccer, but traditionally it's played 11 versus 11 on a large field, big space. The movement in Europe a while ago was for the younger kids to reduce the size of the space, reduce the number of players on the field. So we started playing a 4 versus 4 model.
Mm-hmm.
What that meant was the kids touched the ball all the time. They're playing offense or playing defense. They transition. They loved it. So it was the setting that the kids enjoyed that really started to drive it, to tell you the truth, because we only wanted it to be about fun for the kids. So we don't keep score in our games. We don't keep a league standings. We really want to send the message to the kids that this is your game. And I think that's important.
What sparked your interest in working with a nonprofit?
So it was 2004, and I'm, again, kicking this idea around. And my son at the time was playing, he was a 5th grader. He was playing CYC baseball. Long story short, our little CYC baseball team took a trip to Chicago to play some ball. And we had an experience at a field that had been at one time overrun by drug dealers and gangs. 2 guys decided to take that field back and give it back to the kids. They literally went out with rubber gloves and picked up the broken glass and the syringes off the field. That field transformed into one of the largest little league systems in the Midwest. This is in Chicago. This was in the Cabrini Green housing projects. It was a huge story. It was a very powerful story because the field did transform. And then when the field transformed and was given back to the kids, the entire community around the field transformed. So, and it was such a powerful story that Hollywood made a movie off of what happened. The movie was entitled Hardball with Keanu Reeves and Diane Lane. In typical fashion, Hollywood distorted the story. But coming to that setting to see firsthand the power of sports and what sports could do in a community. And I had no idea. I really didn't. So we're there to play baseball, and we have this soul-moving experience of what people working together can do. And that really was the birth of it for me.
Wow. And you're so right. Sometimes it does take a community to get behind it. These kids just need a chance. I always like to say one hand washes the other. So having that backing from the community and just having those guys standing up, feeling like, we're going to give this field back to the kids and take it away from all the negativity and have these kids have something to do that's amazing. And I do know about hardball. I definitely do know about hardball. I watched that growing up. So I am familiar with the story.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too bad that, like I said, Hollywood distorted the story. And one of the two guys ended up suing Hollywood. It was some of the more of the backstory. The two guys, you got to know one of the guys pretty well. His name was Mike Clark. Bob Muzikowski was the other guy. They were both here in St. Louis. This was years back, and Frank Cusimano interviewed him on Channel 5 and did spend a lot of time talking about, the unfortunate distortion of the actual story, because it was such a powerful thing. When you see that in front of you, you hear about stories like that, you read about stories like that, but when you witness it, when you're standing there and you see it, it's very powerful. It really, really is powerful. And you just see what is possible when people come together. So you're right, as far as the community piece, that's really where we've gone with this, is to make this a community-based model so that it's affordable, it's accessible, and we have kids that'll come through our program, and if they show some leadership abilities, they'll become junior coaches for us also. So it's just a way to bring people together more than anything else.
I like to hear that. I definitely love hearing the generation handed down to the next generation. So that's amazing that there is an opportunity for those kids who come up through the program. They have a chance to give back to the generation that's following them.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're looking at that more and more, wanting to have high school kids involved with us as teachers, as mentors also for grade school kids, because there is something about that connection. A younger student looking up to an older student. That's a powerful dynamic. So if we can capitalize on that and make the experience better, because I think the high school students get something out of that as well too. And one of the things that we've seen is, whether it's a high school student or a college student, they come out to volunteer or they come to us through an internship. And I think they are surprised at how impacted they are from being involved with the kids, because the kids are the best part. The kids are wonderful. The kids are just there to have fun and appreciate, just the chance. So I think when a lot of the high schools and college students come our way, they're moved in a way they didn't expect.
Yeah.
And then you see some of them continue to show up because it just feels right to them.
I feel like those players see themselves in those younger kids, and they get an understanding of the importance of someone being there, seeing someone come back and help after going through the same experience as them, and kind of understanding that they're not alone. So
yeah, absolutely. And if we can down the road create kind of a self-perpetuating system where, again, the kids that come through the program as players, if there's opportunities there with them as far as becoming coaches with us, then it's a self-perpetuating system. But the gist of it is, it has to feel good. It has to be fun. It has to be something that when the kids think about coming to play New Dimension Soccer, they like that idea. So that's really the core of it. It's a safe environment, but it's fun, and it's giving the game back to the kids. I think the best way to think of our model is if you can picture kids going to the park on their own to play. They'd have to govern the game themselves, make up the rules. The girls might be playing in the game with the boys. You might have an 8-year-old playing with the 10-year-olds. So we just wanted to structure unstructured play to let their creativity express itself. And when I think the kids have a chance to do that and they're just playing for fun, they want to continue to do it. So again, it's a simple idea, and yet it's pretty profound at the same time as far as how far reaching it can be.
Excellent. What is your experience with New Dimension Soccer? What has taught you that has made an impact on the way you live today?
Wow, I'll tell you what, that's a great question because I continue to learn every day. I continue to learn what I don't know. And I guess I would say it this way. There a lot of times in the past when I thought I was helping, I wasn't. I did not realize the level of my own ignorance, um, just in my own thinking. So when you're involved day to day and you're working with people that have backgrounds that were different than what you were used to and what you grew up in, over time, it just seems to have an effect of opening your eyes a little bit. And it's been wonderful. This past year, we've expanded our program into North St. Louis City, and that's just been a wonderful experience. We're just starting to do that, but so many of the people that we've met, really are grateful. But they're just their parents just looking out for their kids like anybody else. It's what it is.
That's
So we
good.
get, yeah. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. I didn't mean to
No,
cut you off. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was just going to say we get that experience of offering, bringing something to an area or to some folks that maybe haven't had that opportunity yet, and you realize what you've been taking for granted for yourself, that you just expect things to be there, when for some people living in our city every day is a question mark, you know
Yeah,
so
I'm
yeah, we're
definitely.
blessed. We're blessed.
Yes. I definitely love. For me, that kind of hits kind of home. I love that you're working your way into the North St. Louis City area. I'm definitely a product of the North St. Louis City area, and we need kind of more of a influx of different opportunities of sports over there, because me growing up, that was kind of dominated by the Matthew Dickey's football area, which is a
Yeah.
great program, but just the aspect of soccer, a different sport, like that's, I like to hear that. And I'm a fan of
Yeah.
soccer, and like I caught on to soccer late in life. So, that's actually amazing to hear that the next generations and the upcoming generations, they can be introduced to the game of soccer,
Yeah,
instead
and
of.
one of the things that's really neat in St. Louis is once you become a part of the soccer community, you're a part of it for life.
Mhm.
And so I'm a little bit older, so I grew up in the era where St. Louis was truly the hotbed actively in terms of soccer, a lot of national championships and all that. And I can tell
Mhm.
you that, being a part of that community the rest of my life has truly been a blessing. So we want the kids to know that are coming out to play in our leagues, in our games, and whatever it is that we're doing, that they are now part of that larger community. You're a part of it now for the rest of your life. So wanting to give them some type of a feeling of belonging to something greater than themselves. I think that that's important too. So just really trying to capitalize on what is really a beautiful game, and give back because it's given so much to us.
If you were to name one or two of your favorite memories with New Dimension Soccer, what would they be and why?
Well, so in 2007, we brought to St. Louis a genocide survivor. Gilbert Tuhobonye was a Tutsi growing up in Burundi, Africa. He was an Olympic athlete, Olympic hopeful. Gilbert and I didn't know anything of the background of the story, the Hutus and the Tutsis, which is told in the movie Hotel Rwanda.
Mhm.
I think it was September 2007. Somebody gives me the movie Hotel Rwanda, and I put it up on my shelf. I didn't watch it. And then they give me Gilbert's book. I didn't know who Gilbert was. Gilbert survived what was an attack on Tutsi students at a school that he was at by Hutus. Gilbert was the lone survivor of a massacre. Uh, Being an Olympic athlete, Gilbert could outrun the people that were perpetuating these crimes. So Gilbert had an amazing story to tell, and I read his book and then saw the movie and came to understand what this story was all about. Well, we just reached out to Gilbert. There was an email address in the back of his book, so he responded, and we brought him to St. Louis. And this is a man who, I just want to repeat this, he was part of an attack at a school for Tootsies. Gilbert was the only survivor, and he hid under a pile of burnt bodies for hours to be able to escape. So I did not know what to expect when I met Gilbert. I met Gilbert, and it was like meeting someone that's been your best friend all your life. So Gilbert came to St. Louis and spoke to a group of refugee kids about perseverance and forgiveness. I mean, it was an amazing story. Gilbert speaks around the world. That helped raise the window for us to see, hey, there's a bigger picture out there as far as using sports. So I think bringing Gilbert to St. Louis, and then in 2010, we brought a documentary to St. Louis. The documentary was entitled Pallotta. And it was two college students who had finished their careers playing soccer, a girl and a guy, and they decided to travel the world to find soccer and tell the story of the cultures through soccer that they visited. So they visited 25 countries in a year and made a documentary, and again told the story of each of those cultures. It was fascinating. In Bolivia, the best soccer they found was played in the prison. So they wanted to go into the prison to play soccer. Well, they found out it's the inmates that ran the prison. So the inmates moved their families in with them into the prison. So it's a real family affair. So they go in and they had to pay off the inmates, not the guards, the inmates, to be able to play soccer. So we brought that documentary to the Tivoli, and I think it came about on short notice. But I think we still had like 300 or 400 people to see this film. Again, it was just an expression of what soccer means to so many people across the world. So we're just really trying to capitalize on the beautiful game.
Amazing. What is your favorite part about giving back?
I'll tell you what, maybe it's going to sound silly, but when we play our games, we play with goals that are good size so the kids can score goals. I remember playing as a kid. It always seemed like it was impossible to score goals. So when I was growing up, like I said earlier, soccer's played on a big field, 11 versus 11. I want to say I can believe being in kindergarten and chasing the ball around in a pack. 11 versus 11 was basically 1 against 21. So when kids come up to us with a huge smile on their face and tell us that they scored a goal, I understand what that means. It's excitement. For them to be able to say they scored a goal, we didn't realize how often we would hear that and how powerful that would be for kids. So again, we created goals that were very large, oversized, so kids can score, which is the name of the game. That's what soccer is about, scoring more goals than your opponent. But it's that joy because it's just, it's pure.
Yeah.
It's pure.
Yeah. I was just going to say that, like, that's amazing that kids can be able to see themselves score, in a plethora of times, that can kind of, that's how I was trained growing up when I did any sport or participate in it. They gave me multiple opportunities to score so I could see myself score. I didn't have to be the fastest or the strongest or the tallest, just seeing myself scoring, and I'm able to see it myself. It gives you some type of confidence that lets you know, like, yo, I can do this. I am just as equal as everyone that's out here on this field because we're playing by the same rules. So that's amazing.
That's it. Yeah, it's a great equalizer is what it is. And you're right. It's the confidence because a minute ago, before they scored that goal, they did not know how that was going to make them feel. And you could just see it in their eyes. And now they want to run after the ball and score another goal. That's the part right there. Now they want to score another goal. Yes. So now they're starting to catch the fire a little bit.
Yes.
Tom, I wanted to hop in and just thank you again for joining us on this episode of the Buddy Fun podcast. And thank you again. So if you guys didn't hear in the beginning of the episode, this is Torek Wright, our brand new intern. He's going to be taking over the podcast. So thank you to both of you guys. This is such an amazing conversation that we've been having. And I hope that, Tom, we have a chance to this is giving you more people to come and help out. And I like to say a lot of times that it's not always about donating money. It's rather donating your time and donating whatever you have in your life to people, to the community. But Tom, if there's any final thoughts that you have for the viewers, again, we'll link all of your stuff, like your website, social media stuff as well. But I wanted to leave the viewers with one final message that you may have for the community as a whole.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of gray in life, a lot of gray area. But I think in this particular area, the way I'm going to say it is, I think you're either a part of the problem or you're a part of the solution. And when you come out and give your time, and it's a great point, Jamie, just giving your time or whatever you can, now you're a part of the solution. Any intention to want to do better or bring better to our city is a part of the solution. It's a black and white, and we need more people as a part of the solution. So anything that you do for your community makes a difference. It really does.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining us, and we'll keep up to date with you. And if you have any other upcoming events, we'll make sure to put that in the show notes as well. But again, thank you. And to everyone who listened in, we appreciate all your support, and we'll be back with you guys very soon with another episode.